Today, we're gonna do a full tour of my shop. We built this house about 4 years ago, and one of the main reasons we even moved, because we liked our previous house, was so that we could get enough land. In our area, you have to have over 5 acres in order to build a shop bigger than 1,800 square foot, and that was a priority for me. So we purchased this bit of land on just over 10 acres, which also gives us ag zoning and allows me to build whatever I want for a shop. When I first bought this property, it had a small shop on it. It was much smaller than what we wanted. It was even smaller than the one I had on my other property. It's funny because the previous owner stopped by and told me all his plans for that shop, and it was so nice. And it was a nice building. It was a small steel pole barn, and I had the heart to tell him we were gonna tear it down. I did have some guys that actually came and disassembled the building and took the metal off it to use on another one, and then we ripped it apart and burnt the rest of it. So I was able to start with a clean slate and build from scratch, although the neighbor had warned me that there was a house on this location prior to that pole barn. And as you can see here, my father found the foundation for that house when digging the foundation for this shop. This building has a full 4-foot trench foundation. We took an excavator, dug a trench around the entire perimeter of the building. We put insulation board on the inside of it and filled it up with concrete. Later, we went ahead and framed up the floor. We had a crew come in with a concrete pump and trucks after we put in the radiant tubes and pour us a nice floor. I had this entire building framed off-site and brought in panelized. So we stood it up in just a few days using a crane and a few lifts. We put trusses on it. It really only took a few days, and then we had the entire thing spray foamed and sheeted the whole inside with OSB. It would probably cost $1 billion right now, but when I had it done, I was able to buy the plywood for less than $9 a sheet, so that was fantastic. The entire building is heated. We use this wood boiler right here, and we heat the entire building with wood. We heat it for about 4 months out of the year. It's quite comfortable. Having a big shop has been awesome. It has allowed me to do a lot of projects like this camper here. Let me take you guys over here. I built this overland camper. I will link the video I did on that up above so you can see it. I got a video coming soon, I think, put together on the Jeep here. This is an 84 CJ7. I bought the thing, you know, and took it all the way down to the frame and rebuilt it about 6 years. I did a lot of this at my other house, but I would say probably the last 30% of the work, the finished work, I was able to do here was a lot nicer working in this shop than my other one. Enough of the how and why. Let's take a look at the shop. I'm gonna flip you guys around here. I'm gonna leave these doors up because I think it'll help with the echo. But let's just take a walk around the room. Here is what I kind of call my strap area. I guess I don't really call it that, but we're gonna now keep all my tie down straps, things like that. Easily accessible, close to the door, so when you pull a trailer up and you need to grab some of them, they are ready. Got kind of a bucket of ropes and chains, all of my lifts and jacks. These doors here are 14 by 10, I'm sorry, 14 by 12 overhead garage doors. They are run off of jack shaft openers, so there's no track in the ceiling. I wanted them to be 14 foot tall so that I was sure I could fit anything inside the shop. We service our gutter trucks that have big ladder racks on top of box trucks, and they're pretty tall. Another thing I wanted was a power washer that was ready to go. So this is an Extreme power washer. If you are in the market for a power washer for your shop, an electric power washer, this thing is fantastic. I put this PEX water line in the floor when we built the shop, knowing that I wanted to do this. I've got a hose hooked to it. I've got this power washer screwed to the wall. This is a high pressure, high volume power washer. It is totally awesome. The best part about it is there is no gas engine to worry about starting in the winter. I can obviously run it inside if I want to wash things inside when it's freezing cold outside, and nobody can take this and run away with it. I've got about 200 foot of extra power washer hose here. That's that green hose. hanging up on the wall here so that I can reach the front porch. Many things on the property that has been really awesome. So moving around the room, I hang up some brooms here, not real exciting. I've got an air port here. I'll link these things, these air hoses. They're like a flexible aluminum air hose with this blue plastic on there. It's a system that goes together. You can drain the moisture out of them there with that little valve. Pretty standard air fittings aside from there. We'll get over there, but in the back of my welding area, there's a big Ingersoll Rand compressor that runs all that. However, I found air tools to be less than necessary in recent years because batteries have gotten so good. Here is a toolbox that I bought. This thing is massive. It is a big ox toolbox. I just got it year before last. It has got a ton of drawers in it. This is a 1/4-inch plate steel top, so you can beat the heck out of whatever you need. But inside it, it's got all these drawer liners. Let me find you a good one here. It's got all these dividers that you can set for whatever size you need, sorry. I've always said that things go in drawers to die and you'll never find them again. I like shelves, and that's true, but man, stuff like this, you know, it's just hard to pile on top of a shelf. This really helps me to stay organized. I like it. Soft close, easy rolling, very expensive, but it's family owned. It was pretty awesome. So moving around here, this is kind of my vehicle maintenance area. I've got these, they're like a pie drying baker's rack. So they roll around on wheels, and with the Z shape, I've got a bunch of them. They actually stack together. Most of them are in the basement of my house, but I try to keep all of my, you know, oils, fluids, things like that, funnels, drain pans, all that stuff ready. And because we have multiple bays in the shop, I can wheel this to the vehicle rather than carrying everything over there. It works pretty nice, although I will say most of the time it winds up staying right there. Here I made this little hardware rack. I just bought these green bins on Amazon. I'll try and link them in the description below. I labeled them all. I actually found this from Adam Savage, did a build similar to this, at least with these bins on his channel. I thought they were pretty neat. They're inexpensive. And then I just took some 2x12s and built a shelving unit to put them all in there. I keep all my hardware there. That is definitely something that I like to have open where I can see it all. Just gives you easy access. And then I was having a hard time keeping all these wires stored. You know, having the spools, pulling wire out. It's really neat to make a little rack here. So it's just some threaded rod that runs through a plywood box. Nothing big, but it helps me keep the wire organized for sure. Moving around the room here, obviously we've got the panel. That little box to the left of the electric panel is a timer that runs the outside lights. I wish I'd done that with photo cells. Some of them are, but the big spotlight on the outside is run off this timer. It works well. But you've got to keep changing it after daylight savings and as it gets darker and lighter through the seasons. Got air hose here, it's a reel in and out. That's been nice, kind of keep your hoses picked up and out of the way. Here is my ESOB welder. This is an EMP, which is an ESOB multi-process 215 IC. This thing's awesome. It does MIG, STIG, and TIG. Sorry, TIG, not TIC. I am severely below average at MIG, and I don't know how to do the other ones, but we get it done. This is a Harbor Freight press. I got this Swag off-road press brake that goes inside it. That's kind of cool for bending little metal pieces. I keep some accessories to go with it there. This Harbor Freight jack. This one is actually pneumatic, so I swapped the jack that was on it out for that. I can hook it to an air hose, and then you have a little better control over it that way. Also, it's a lot bigger one, kind of a neat jack hack you'll find all over YouTube. This is a drill press, just a rigid drill press. I've had this one for like 20 years. I keep it in here just for metal work. Here's an old oven out of one of my rental properties. We use that for powder coating. Here's the big Ingersoll Rand. I think this is an 80-gallon, 2-stage, phenomenal compressor. Makes it quieter. Again, don't use it as much as I did 10 years ago because we got a lot of battery tools, but there's still a lot of stuff that you need it for, like filling tires, things like that. So that's a nice compressor. Here is my grinder station. I like to have a dedicated grinder for each process you might do. This table that it's sitting on top of, that is 2 inches solid thick steel. I bought it off Craigslist somewhere. It wasn't quite high enough, so I put it up on these blocks. The thing weighs like 300 pounds. Kind of nice, doesn't shake when the grinders are on. Here is my Harbor Freight sandblasting box. It's nice, it's a good one. It leaks out the bottom, so I put this bucket under to catch it. We have a parts washer here by Safety Clean. It's got a little pump in it and recirculates the parts washer fluid from this little barrel underneath it. Works really well. It's got a light in it, keep a little screen on there for washing parts out, and then they will come and swap the fluid out. I haven't done it yet. It's been a couple years, but I don't do enough of it that I need that. Then I've just got this long workbench here. I built that, had my welder bend me some sheet metal to go on the top of it. It's only about an 1/8 inch thick. That way we don't have fluids in that on plywood workbenches. Works really nice. Keep all of your junk on, as you can see here. This is a jet chisel sharpener. Works really well. And I keep my metal chop saw here at the end. Boy, if you don't have one of these with these carbide blades in them, man, they're fantastic. Really smooth cut, no heat, no sparks. That one is sitting on a plywood counter. Keeps you from burning your shop down. So here's my welding table. I'm probably the only guy that has a welding table with a wooden base, but I'm really proud of this one. I did some timber framing on here. I got these huge, like 6-inch wheels, which is nice because if you've ever tried to roll a workbench across your shop with little wheels on it, it doesn't work very well. This one with the 6-inch wheels on it was actually too easy to roll. And before I had a bunch of weight on it, this thing, you would bump it and it would take off clear across the shop and roll into something else. It has a, yeah, this is bigger than 1/4 inch. This might even be like 5/16, even 3/8. I can't remember. That top weighs 1 billion pounds. So it's got this huge timber frame base. You can see I keep my plasma cutter, jack stands, a bunch of hitches and things like that. It's probably got, between that top and all the stuff on it, this thing probably weighs 1,000 pounds. But you can quite easily roll it out from under the loft here. So if you're working on something that's taller and then will fit underneath the loft, you can pull it outside and do that. So here is the back corner of the shop. Right now it is full of a ton of junk that needs to go to Kentucky. You can see back there in the corner I've got a barrel of Shell Rotella oil. I've just got some tall storage back here in the corner behind the end of the pallet shelves, stand-up pipes and things like that. All this wood here is the flooring, ceiling, and walls for Kentucky. We've got some rain screen there that's going to go on the siding. So next couple trips that will all get gone. But let me back up here so you can see. These are my pallet shelves. So we've got all kinds of things up here for storage. That is a phenomenal way to keep things out of your way, up off the ground. You know, we've got some kitchen cabinets for rental property. This is a big slide for my daughter's playground, a dryer out of another rental, some old doors that I've been hanging on to, Jeep seat, and some extra tires, you know, just a lot of stuff that you're not going to need, but you could keep them up out of the way. So on the end of my pallet shelves, I kind of made this vertical storage. So I took this 7/16 OSB, these are actually 9-foot sheets, and I through bolted it to the end of the pallet shelves. That way I could have more wall space to hang things on. Wall space is definitely at a premium. Got a lumber cart in here, a few things I store, but on the other side, this is like my vertical plywood storage bin. So you can see I've got a plastic pallet on the bottom, so I keep the plywood off the concrete. These are 9 foot tall, so they have just a flat 2x4 frame between them, little brace on the top, and then I screwed it to the end of this pallet shelf here. But I can slide plywood. Let me back up so you can get a full look at it. I can slide plywood. I've got a folding table, some metal, some different sheet metals, things like that. I can slide them in and out of there, keep them out of the way. And you know, before I just had them leaning on the wall. Well, if you want something in the back, it's a real pain in the neck to get it out. The other side, I just got ladders and things hung on it. And that brings us back around to the straps. So let's take a walk upstairs. Nothing special, just some of the things I don't use all the time. I throw up here on the loft. I could do it with the forklift, or I could do it with the overhead lift. Let's take a look at this lift. So if you look close at this, this is, I don't know if the light's gonna work out, but this is a Harbor Freight electric winch mounted to 2 angle iron brackets that I made with 2 of their trolleys. These trolleys clamp either side of an I-beam. Let's run back downstairs. But this trolley can travel on this beam. It has a cable that comes down here with this swinging hook, and then it's got a remote control. Let's plug it in. So this remote here simply raises and lowers that hook so you can you know, pick things up and down. Pretty much anything you want to keep cold, Tommy. So I've never had a shop big enough to own a forklift. Hard to drive it around in there. It is awesome. If you have the space for it, they're not very expensive. You can buy a used one. Most of them don't have a lot of miles on them because they're just driving around in a warehouse. It's fantastic. I can't say enough about it. It's essential to get things up off the floor. You know, obviously you couldn't go pick up 300-pound items and put them on the top shelf there. But I found, you know, after we got done paving our entire driveway, which is also awesome, I'm able to drive all over the property with bins of firewood, load trucks out here in the parking lot to go to Kentucky. It is just awesome. It's definitely been one of the big purchases. I know obviously it's a little bit of money, but so is the entire shop. You know, if you're going to build a shop this big, it's really a small price to pay for the convenience. The forklift is also great for moving trailers around. And folks, I have tried every attachment under the sun. I've gone so far as to torch holes in the end of my fork so I had a ball I could screw on and off. Ones that go in the bucket on, you know, skid steers and tractors, things like that. This right here, this little piece clamps, well here. You slide it over the end of your fork and you screw it down, and that's your ball for moving trailers around. It works fantastic. I've got one for here, I've got one for at my shop, and I've got one for in Kentucky. Tully came out here and saw it. He went and bought one for his shop. Fantastic. It just came off Amazon. I will link it down below, so if it's something you'd like for your forklift, they're not very much, they're like 30 bucks or something, but if you've got a need to move trailers with a forklift or the forks on a tractor or anything like that, will change your life. All right, so this part of the shop is a little bit hard to film. 1, because it's a mess, but 2, because it is very narrow. I've got a lot of tools and materials in here, as well as an entire kitchen I bought off Marketplace for one of the rentals. But let's start in the back here. I've just got some lumber racks back here that I keep some old barnwood on, needed a place. These are the screens for Kentucky. I got an air conditioner we'll be taking with us, just a bunch. I don't go over everything on the shelves, but I've got these shelves that I can put a lot of junk on. We pull the side-by-side in here. Before I sold the Razor, we had 2 of them and the 4-wheelers in here. It's just a great little lean-to. Low ceilings in here. They're about 8.5 foot. And here's all that kitchen, couple generators, things like that. Just another place to put more junk. So if we leave this part of the shop, we go to the back of it. We come to the secret project room. So this room has been a number of things. It is currently a YouTube studio. More to come. Got some soundproof dampers up there. I have printed t-shirts in this room. This wall wasn't here originally. It just went all the way back. My daughter used it for a slime room. I've got my CNC in the back there. It's been all kinds of things, but that's for now what we get out of the back part of our shop. So this section of my shop here is where I do my woodworking. So I've got, you know, spindle sander, my chop saw, drill press. I've got the joiner, planer, all the fasteners. I've got my saw stop, table stop. Over here I got a whole ton of shelves and things like that. You guys are sitting on the bandsaws now. If you want to see this shop in more depth, I guess, I will put right here a link to a full tour on this part of the shop in particular, so that this video doesn't become 45 minutes long. But anyways, I appreciate your watching. I hope you enjoyed the shop. If you've got any questions on things that I make here, things that I've done, things that you've seen, I'm more than happy to answer them. Leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you over here.